Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. The Cincinnati Bearcats come in at number 19 in our way too early top 25, looking to continue the success they've had under Luke Fickell. Cincinnati became the first ever Group of 5 team to make the college football playoff just last year, going 13-1. The lone loss coming in the college football playoff to Alabama, 27-6. Now they enter 2022 with a lot of holes to fill, losing a lot of key talent from that unbelievable team last year. They lose their quarterback in Desmond Ridder, and they lose 2 star cornerbacks in Ahmad Gardner and Kobe Bryant. Only 2 starters are expected to return on the defensive side of the ball, leaving a lot of questions out there that have yet to be answered, and really asking, can Cincinnati not only repeat as the American Athletic Conference champion, but can Cincinnati once again maybe sneak back into the college football playoff, or at least get back to a New Year's Six bowl game? Before we answer that question, guys, and before we dive into their schedule, thank you again for joining us here at the Gridiron Expert. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Guys, just join our Gridiron Expert team by hitting that like button, by commenting, by hitting the subscribe button. All that stuff that takes you just a few seconds helps us out tremendously and helps our channel grow more than you know. So please continue to do that. Join our team so we can continue to bring you non-stop college football content year-round. So we take a look at the Bearcats, guys. Again, first ever Group of 5 team to make the college football playoff. Unbelievable year under Luke Fickell. And here in a few years, they're going to have better playoff chances as they transition from the American Athletic to the Big 12. But you look at Cincinnati now. We'll dive deeper into their roster and official predictions here in a few months. But I'm just looking at their schedule. Last year, Cincinnati made the playoff for multiple reasons. But obviously, their schedule benefited them because they had 2 road games at Notre Dame and Indiana. Indiana was never great, but the Notre Dame game weighed the most. They ran the table in the American, and their strength of schedule was just enough to get them in to the college football playoff. Well, when you look at the schedule again now, don't think the strength of schedule is going to benefit them this year. And if you are the person out there hoping that Cincinnati returns to the playoff, I don't think it's going to happen, even if the Bearcats run the table and go undefeated. The strength of schedule simply is not there. But there are opportunities to have another unbelievable year, and there are opportunities to find themselves as the highest-ranked Group of 5 champion if they can even win the American again this year. You look at the schedule, guys, obviously opening up against Arkansas, that's going to be a top 25 matchup to start the year. So that's a great opportunity for Cincinnati to say, hey, last year wasn't a fluke, but also a great opportunity for Arkansas to come out and say, hey, we just notched a top 25 victory after notching a 9-win season in 2021. So that is going to be, to me, one of the more underrated games of Week 1. Cincinnati at Arkansas. Top 25 matchup in Fayetteville. The Razorbacks offense trying to exploit the Cincinnati defense. Cincinnati dealing with life post Desmond Ridder, who's been their starter what seems like forever. So keep an eye on that game, guys. Another opportunity for Cincinnati to get another huge resume-boosting win, very similar to what they did, I believe, last year against Notre Dame. I think that would be somewhat equivalent. Notre Dame holding a little more weight, but still a great opportunity for Luke Fickell and his squad. They get Kennesaw State, shouldn't be an issue. They take on Miami, Ohio. They beat them 49-14 last year. They take on Indiana at home, so another opportunity to take down a Power 5 opponent, but they will be favored. Cincinnati at home will be favored against Indiana. Remember, they beat the Hoosiers 38-24 last year, and Indiana, after a very shocking 2020, had an even more shocking 2021, just not in a good way, going just 2-10 under Tom Allen. So after that, guys, they start to get into their conference play. And the American, guys, we have seen a handful of contenders here and there. We've also seen a handful that are just cellar dwellers, and some that are not going to stand much of a chance against Cincinnati. And when you look at the schedule, guys, they opened their conference play in the American against Tulsa, a team they beat 45-28 last year, but the year prior had played Tulsa in the American Championship game, and that game came down to the wire. So Tulsa just kind of up and down here. They take on South Florida. They beat Tulsa 28-20 last year, and then they take on South Florida, who they beat 45-28 last year. To me, guys, there's not many teams in the American that can hang with Cincinnati right now, even though the Bearcats lose so much. But to me, the 4-game stretch that we're looking at here, the biggest stretch for Cincinnati that can ultimately define their season, and maybe one area where they could slip up and prevent them from an undefeated American season, is October 22nd through November 11th. At SMU, at UCF, Navy, and ECU. And really, for me, if I had to choose, it's the 2 road games. It's the game at SMU, and it's the game at UCF. Yes, they beat both those teams in dominating fashion last year. They beat SMU 48-14, and Cincinnati beat UCF 56-21 last year. So if you were basing it on those scores alone, you'd say, do I really think there's going to be a 34-point swing between SMU this upcoming year? Do I think there's going to be a 35-point swing by UCF this year? Probably not. But brand new seasons. SMU has a brand new head coach in Rhett Lashley. If you watch our coaching changes, coaching hire series, I think that was one of the better hires of the offseason. Brilliant offensive mind. He's working with a great quarterback in Tanner Mordecai. Cincinnati, I think, actually is going to greatly benefit from getting a bye week before that game, because I think that arguably could be one of the toughest games on their schedule this season. Then right after that, they have to travel to the bounce house. Got to travel to Orlando to take on UCF and Gus Malzahn, who, yes, they had a decent year last year, beat Florida in their bowl game to kind of cap off the year, but obviously has a couple questions themselves. But usually a good, solid offensive team in Orlando. Not an easy place to play. Yes, Cincinnati won by 35 last year. Completely different season coming up now. And depending on what happens in the SMU game, UCF could catch Cincinnati sleeping. After that, it's Navy and ECU. Navy, always pretty difficult to face with that triple option. Navy nearly upset Cincinnati last year, only losing 27-20 to the then number 2 Bearcats. And then ECU, usually a typically good offensive team. Mike Houston doing a solid job down there with the Pirates, but Cincinnati beat them 35-13 last year. So again, that's to me the key 4-game stretch where if I'm looking at it, especially in conference play, I say, okay, if they're going to lose a conference game, it's going to come in that 4-game stretch there. More than likely, though, coming to SMU or UCF, with both those being on the road. Because after that, you get Temple, who has been one of the worst teams in the American in the last few years. Cincinnati beat them 52-3, and they get Tulane, beat them 31-12 last year. Tulane kind of up and down as well under Willie Fritz. Cincinnati, guys, has the talent to repeat as the American champion. No doubt about it. And when you look at their schedule, guys, they are avoiding Houston. They are avoiding Memphis. And that is extremely beneficial for the Bearcats. They don't have to face either of them this season. Cincinnati, the only time they might face Houston would be in the American Championship game, just like they did this last year. Houston, I think, is the biggest competitor to the Bearcats in 2022. But the schedule really lines up very favorable for them to maybe run the table at maybe 11-1. Maybe the long loss coming to Arkansas. Maybe it is to a conference opponent. But to me, the 3 toughest games for them are Arkansas, SMU, and UCF. All 3 of those coming on the road, all 3 of those solid offensive teams, and that would be the biggest worry, of course, for Cincinnati, considering how many pieces they have to replace on the defensive side of the ball. But regardless, the Bearcats are a top 25 team. They are going to be the favorite in the American until proven otherwise, and it might take someone like Houston in that championship game to prove us otherwise. But Cincinnati will be the favorite. They have an unbelievable head coach in Luke Fickell. I believe they will fix the issues on offense relatively quickly. It's going to be how quickly the defense starts to gel. But the Bearcats, once again, will be legit. Not playoff legit, but will be legit and will make some noise, not just in the American again, but once again on the national stage. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. Again, check out everything down that description below too. We appreciate all of you and all of your support, and we'll appreciate even more if you join our Gridiron Expert team to help this business, help this channel grow, so we can continue to bring you college football content year-round, because it's exactly what we're going to do. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.